Hello everyone, welcome back to Rich's Garage. I realize it's been almost 3 weeks since I did the intro video for my cancer awareness build. It's been a little bit of a crazy October. I was sick for a little bit, so thanks everybody for watching the videos and commenting. I probably have dozens of videos to catch up on still, but I will. But I wanted to give you an update of where I'm at. This past weekend was really the first weekend that I did any serious work on this, so let me show you what I got going on. So first of all, I just taped in the bucket with the glass to give you an idea what that looks like. I'm going to take this out so I can show you the bucket. Come on now. I tried a couple of different things I hadn't done before, paint-wise. And, excuse me, still fighting this cold a little bit. So I don't know, mixed results. We'll see how it all turns out in the end. Let me get this in here. Okay. Here's the glass. Okay, so let's talk about the bucket for a minute. There's a lot of detail in here. The more I play with this kit, the more I like it. I glued the seat fronts onto the backs, and then the console. I still have to spray this with the black that I mixed up, and like I said, I got the dash that has to go in. So on here, what I tried to the Wildcats had this chrome molding. Let's see if we get it. So I tried to simulate that with this Krylon paint. I had bought this for a while. I hadn't used it. This is Krylon. They call it a leafing pen, silver leafing pen. And really, what it comes out to be is just silver paint. It's same as this Tester's silver. So I was hoping it'd give a little bit more of a chromish type finish, but it was, with the applicator tip, it was a little messy, so I wound up trying to clean it up with a brush, and then with a toothpick going back and dipping that in the black and trying to clean that up. I'm still going to go over this, I think, with another coating. Maybe I'll just use the straight silver. It's a little, I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me, but it's not as clean as I would have liked. Even for the back, the trim, this top of the centerpiece shouldn't be silver. But when I was trying to get in there, this was the first place I tried the Krylon, it wound up touching down, and then that's it. As soon as it touches, there's no way you're getting it off. So I said, I'll just put the whole top silver. So that's what I did there. For the black, it's 1 part Folk Art black, pure black, to I use satin, which I think is over here, to 1 part satin varnish, and then I thin that with this golden airbrush medium until I got it to consistency to spray through the airbrush. So this is the satin bucket. It came out nice. So that's the interior bucket. I have to spray the seats as well, and the reason why I didn't put these in yet is because the Wildcats had chrome trim around the seat. So based on my experience with the Krylon, I'm not going to use that paint. I'm going to maybe try and bare metal foil this, so on both sides. So I didn't put these in just to make it easier to work on. That is the interior. The undercarriage. What I did is I sprayed both sides of this, and I'm also going to spray the inside, the whole inside of the car body. Not only to simulate the headliner, but just to make sure that there's no light bleed through. So here's the flip side. Again, the same mix for satin black. So the other thing I tried was this steel gray. And I was hoping for a little bit more of a steel than a gray, but it kind of, I don't know, kind of looks like gray, almost looked like a muddy concrete. So then I dry brushed a little bit of the, this is the gunmetal gray on top of that. It's kind of growing on me. I'll see what I'm going to do with that. I was looking more for that, aluminized finish on the gas tank. I mean, they tend to get chalky anyway. And again, right, it's a curbside kit. There's, but still, I want to try and do a little bit underneath here. I went with the gunmetal on the exhaust system. I probably should have went with the silver and then went over the top because it's a little bit darker than I thought it would turn out. I did a little bit of a blend of this steel gray and the gunmetal just to lightly touch on the U-joints and the drive shaft, just to make it a little bit different so you can see it. The block is red. I'm going to come back and do the bottom of the oil filter white. The silver is just straight Testors, good old Testors silver. I may do a little bit of a black wash on it. Probably not. I think I'm alright with the way it looks. A little bit bright for, a standard trans and stuff, but we'll see if I decide to go over that a little bit. But a couple things I had to do. This engine piece is a single insert. It's this piece right here. Okay, and so I cleaned up a little bit around it. But what happens is there's a gap. There's a pretty big gap between this exhaust pipe, right? When you line it up with this exhaust pipe, it leaves a big gap. Now, I don't know if you can see so well, but what I did was I took a piece of, I think, like 10,000 styrene, and I just formed it around and glued it to make like a heat shield or a bridge to cover up that hole. Otherwise, it'd be a big hole and you'd see into the car. Also, the trans tunnel, I cut this piece out because there was a gap you could see again into the car. So, I mean, you probably see the bottom of the bucket, but I just wanted to seal that. So I put that piece there as a plate. And then I put two other pieces of 10,000 styrene over here. And then just glued it with the plastic struck, the Bondene, and molded it down. So then I sprayed over it. So that was something to close up that gap. But overall, I like the way the satin came out. I really didn't do anything to it. I was going to sand off these holes, but they do kind of simulate the holes in a frame, like where the body bolts would go through. And I think they were trying to go for that. They had two other holes on here on the diff that I sanded off. Also, if you get this kit, you'll find out that on the muffler it's stamped 1966 Buick. So this is probably the same body or chassis frame that's on the 66 Buick kit. So so that is this guy. So far we got these two. So let's talk about the body. When I got the body, there was I wasn't quite sure if it was a dip or there was some discoloration. It was like a half moon here. So I decided to sand this down and use the gloss as a guide coat. So I have this pack of goes from 12,000 grit to I think 1,000 grit or 1,500 pads. So I took out the 4,000, which is this guy, and because I want a big block, right? The bigger the sanding block you can use, the better off you are, so you don't gouge things. And I just in a cross hatch gently went back and forth, and I was able to take that out. So I'm happy with that now. And then the pads are too big to do the car body itself, and I got a little lazy. I know I got 4,000 sandpaper somewhere in the garage, but I didn't feel like going out and getting it. So I had 1,000 grit, 1,000 or 1,500. I think it was 1,000. And I went and I cross hatched over this, which I'm glad I did as well. If you look, there's more dimples in the trunk area than what I had originally seen one. And then once I sanded over it, again using the gloss of the plastic as a guide coat, you can see there's a fair amount that's got to get puttied over here and over here. So that's that. There's a little dimple here that's got to get filled. looks like when the body was cast, that originally it was on the tree here because it's got 2 sink marks in the lower sill. The hood, there's 4 places, where these pins are. So here, it's more pronounced on this side. It's a little less on this side. That has to get filled. And then in sanding, the mold line for the C-pillar, it actually came all the way across the quarter panel. So I had to clean that out on both sides, and then a little bit also on the front A-pillar. It also came down into where the door opens. But the it's a great looking car, at least to me. I guess, like I said, I'm a Buick fan, and just going through this kit, it definitely puts a smile on my face. It's a really nice car. So I have to go ahead and do all that putty work, and then prime it, and all that. So I have that to do. One thing that I had to do a fair amount of work on was fitting the front bumper. So the way this car goes together is this sits in here, and then the body and everything goes in, and then you screw it in. But I was having problems where I couldn't get it up high enough. It was stuck, like, say, this height, almost a little bit more than halfway. So what I did was, by hand, I opened this up. In hindsight, you start out thinking you're only going to need a little bit, and then an hour later I've gotten these big holes in here. Doing this again, I would use a drill bit, and then just slowly open up with the drill bit. I kept it tapered so that it would grab onto something down in here. I don't know if it really mattered at this point, but I got it now to where I like it. Now the regular Wildcats, they had a pretty decent gap between the hood and the grill, but I'm liking the way this fits. One thing I noticed though is when I tighten this down, it has a tendency to pinch it like this to want to open it up like a mouth. So I'm probably going to have to put some styrene to shim this so it doesn't open up and stays flush. But it's looking pretty good. The back bumper fits well. The lower valence panel, I'm still not sure if I'm going to try and do anything with it. Oops, wrong way. It fits well, but the lower corners a little bit off with the way the body should line up, I think. So, but it's not horrible. So, I may try and come in and either lightly touch this and maybe glue it after it's painted. We'll see. This side's a little bit worse. You try and center it up. But overall, the bumper itself fits well. So that's the rear of it. So I think that's everything. What I'm probably looking at a Thanksgiving timeframe finish timeframe for me. I know I got to do a little traveling for work, but I wanted to show you I am working on this, and then like I said, once I get done with this, I can get back to that trailer I was working on. But again, it's a nice kit. It's just going to need a little bit of work to get right, and that's it. So thanks for watching, and hopefully it won't be 3 weeks before the next update, but I'm hoping by next week that I'll have at least this in primer. So we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, take care. Bye.